Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be pulling the 240 out of storage and getting ready for our next race. Yep, I said storage. It is December 6th. We put the car away for the race season. We thought we were done racing. We haven't done nothing to the car since Rocky Mountain Race Week, so there are some things we need to fix, upgrade, and get ready for this next race. Like I said, I thought we were done. And I got a message from Joey Anton last night saying that we got an invite to the Get Down in Stanfield, Arizona. It's a big race, 48 cars, all small tire. It's an invite only. There is no entry fees, so it's pretty much free entry. We just got to get ourselves there, and there is $15,000 to win. You know, I've got a little advice from Sean Fink a while back saying that no matter what you do, if you go to race, you should always go with a game plan to win. I usually go to these races just to have fun, and I'm always going to have fun, don't get me wrong there. But this time I'm going to take it a little bit more seriously. I'm not just going to, get ready the day before and head down. It's 16 hours one way to get there. It's going to cost us a lot of money. It is right before Christmas. The race is on December 16th. So I'm going to be spending some of my kids' Christmas money on going to this race. Just kidding. They're going to have a fine Christmas. But anyway, let's take this seriously. So I've got a week and a half. Today is Wednesday, and we'll be leaving possibly next Thursday night or Friday morning. So we just need to get this car ready. There was many things that we need to take care of on this car. But let's go ahead and just get it out of storage. We'll get it back over here onto the lift. And we'll kind of run through everything we need to take care of, and let's just get started. Let's go ahead and run through the biggest things that we need to take care of before next weekend. So first off, the biggest concern at the very moment that we need to do is we need to pull the fuel cell out and get that repaired. I haven't got the video out yet, but right after Rocky Mountain Race Week, we did a Steel City shootout. We entered into the small dollar class, and you had to do a big drive, which really wasn't necessary for me in a sense because we had just finished 1,400 miles in this car on Rocky Mountain Race Week the day before. But to fit through that class, we had to go do 10 laps. It was like 20 some miles around their race course, and just to show that we were a street car. Not a big deal, but as soon as we were finished, we got back to the pits. I was getting ready to go up into my driver's meeting. I looked down and we have fuel pouring out of the fuel cell. So my guys did a rush job, got it patched up real quick while I went and did the driver's meeting. They drained the fuel, we took some RTV, filled in the crack, put some rags around it, and put her back in place, hoping for the best. We didn't fill the fuel cell all the way back up. We just put enough in for each round so that way we didn't have a bunch of interior pressure trying to push out on that RTV that we put in there. So big thank you to my guys for getting that taken care of. We were nervous. We didn't know if we were actually going to be able to go into that and and do what we did. You guys will see that video coming up. I didn't get a lot of footage because we were just thrashing all the way through. The day before, we ended up having to put another set of injectors into it and didn't have any of the dwell time. So Darce was there smashing on the keyboard as we were doing our laps, and it was a thrash even going to first round. And we did really, really well. So keep your eye out for that video. I will make sure I get it up there so you guys can see at least what I got caught on camera. So like I said, we'll get the fuel cell drained out of here. We're gonna get that out and repaired. I've been practicing on my aluminum welding. I bought myself a new TIG welder, and that thing is just sweet. We ended up building that glass rack for our business, and that was my good practice on welding aluminum. I hadn't done it in 12 years, so that was a little bit of a relearning process, but I think I got it now where I feel confident enough to repair our fuel cell. Upgrade number 2. Don't tell Katie, but I ordered a new turbo for this thing. Right now we are running a VS 75, 78, or 78, 75, whatever one it is. The Gen 2 or next gen turbo. This turbo is amazing. The problem we're having is, as you guys could see in Rocky Mountain Race Week and those last ones, this car spools instantly. So trying to bring that back down, plus we need some more out of the top. So I went with the new VS. It's a 88, 85, so a little bit bigger. It's not going to fix the problem as far as that goes. You know, it'll probably take a little bit more time to spool, but it's going to just have much more efficiency out the back, you know, be able to add a little bit more horsepower. This one was rated at max of 1,000 horsepower. The new one that we're putting on is going to be rated at max at like 1,350 or something like that. So I think that'll give us a little bit of advantage, be a little bit more set up for this engine. But we weren't wasting money on KDC 10, everything that we have going for that build. This VS Racing Turbo is going to go onto her truck. So we already knew that was coming, so it wasn't like I was just blowing money on turbos. I wasn't going to purchase it just yet, but since this race is coming up and everything that's happening, I want to go out swinging. I don't want to get knocked out first round. Driving 16 hours is a long way, so we don't want to go out first round. We don't want to, whatever. Even if we do go out first round, I want to know that I went swinging, prepped, tried my best to get everything going as it should. Upgrade number 3 is we ordered a CO2 Boost Control kit. This whole time I've been running this car, we had a little dial-a-bomb on it, you guys know, and then through Rocky Mountain Race Week and that Steel City Shootout, I actually took all of that off. We were running just wastegate 12 pounds. So as you guys will see in that video, how good we did against those cars that were running all the boosts that they could get, and we were only running on 12. I think we have a contender and a street beast for sure. So those will be the big things. I'm gonna get a hold of Darce, and right after I get all those done, they should be here by Friday. Got them pretty quickly. They came from Speedway Motors, which is out of Lincoln, Nebraska, so it doesn't take long to get the stuff here. So we will get all that changed over. Joey is actually locating me a brand new set of Hoosiers for the back. I got some Phoenixes on it now, but they've got 15 passes on them. And like I said, once again, if we're gonna go down there, let's make sure we're going down there prepped and ready to go. Joey kind of talked me into them, and I appreciate that, Joey. Thanks for doing everything you've done to get us to this point. I'm so excited. So we'll get the new tires on, all those goodies, oil change, just get everything prepped and ready to go. The other big thing I gotta get going is a trailer. I lent out my trailer, and it came back in pretty rough condition. We lost 2 tires, a rim, and a bunch of other stuff. So I need to get that one fixed up. While we were on Rocky Mountain Race Week, the trailer's sitting out on the side. Kevin's trailer, we lost a shackle, and then we lost a leaf spring. So I need to do some repairs on his. The parts aren't gonna be here yet for his, so that'll be a repair and a later date. We are gonna get his fixed and get it back to him. I appreciate you, Kevin. But as far as that goes, we're gonna just get our little trailer going. My little 5.3 Chevy Silverado doesn't like to tow that big black one, especially for 16 hours, gonna be rough on it. So we're just gonna take an open flatbed with the 240. So like I said, that is gonna be everything we need to do. So we need to get started. I'm gonna quit jibber-jabbering, talking blah, blah, blah. And we're just gonna get started. I'm gonna try to get all the upgrades and setups in this video and get everything prepped and onto that race. So the next video you see should be us out there kicking some butt. So we have got the fuel cell out of there. Got her up on the lift. You can kind of see everything is still wet around here. I went in, kind of cleaned everything off, used some degreaser. This thing was super greasy. The rear end had actually been leaking during Rocky Mountain Race Week, and it was blowing rear diff, gear oil all over the fan and everything. So this thing was just coated and covered. So we got her all cleaned out, got everything pulled out of here and ready to go. I took the fuel cell, kind of pulled it all apart, and we did a bunch of cleaning. I took the hose and I ran the water through it for about 25-30 minutes, let it dry out and all that good stuff. And then I just took a torch and put it inside it to make sure there was no more gases in there. So when we go to weld this, we're not going to explode. If you ever weld a fuel tank, just make sure you do your due diligence on cleaning it, making sure all the vapors are out of there. You don't want to get any flash burn, anything like that. When we were on Rocky Mountain Race Week, the guy who welded up my turbo system, he had actually did a fuel cell the year before, and that happened. It burned his arm all up and a bunch of craziness. So make sure you take your time doing that. But anyway, we've got the fuel cell sitting up here. I've just kind of cleaned it all up. I got all the RTV. It was pretty bad on there. I'll see if I can get in here and show you guys. See that line right there? That is a hairline crack going through. It ends right about there to there. So what I did is I just prepped the whole surface. I'm going to go ahead and just run a bead along this whole piece here. I might take a cut-off wheel and kind of just clean out that crack a little bit too. Make sure I get all the yuck out of there. So when we're welding it, the porosity hopefully doesn't fight us. I'll kind of see where I'm going to go. I might just start and see what it does and just add another bead over it. And then one other spot is right here, the hanger that I built, the whole system that I built was kind of rubbing into the little part of the sump right here. So I'm going to throw a little bead on there, and then I'm going to cut out around that edge so it doesn't rub on this anymore. And then I could see there was one bolt that was kind of rubbing up here. It didn't do any puncture or anything, but it is rubbing. So I'm going to take a look at that when we go to put it all back together to make sure that looks like that guy right there. So I'll probably chop it off a little bit, make sure it's not rubbing and vibrating and putting a hole in our tank either. So anywho, we'll set up the camera and we'll get welding on this bad boy. All right, so take a little brake cleaner. I'm gonna clean that bad boy up, get all the oil and anything that's been on there. Try to just get it as clean as possible. Aluminum is a little, I don't know what you want to call the word. Just, it's hard. It's hard to weld, honestly. Like, I can MIG weld all day long and I can TIG pretty well, but aluminum is just a little bit different. Getting that heat up in there, you want to make it as clean as possible so you don't have any contaminants and anything like that. So just do yourself a favor, prep it good, get it clean. It'll help you in the long run. And if you have a fab table like this here, the metal one, it's always really nice. Then you don't have to clamp the ground straight to what you're working on. You'll be able to move it around. I usually clamp my ground cable straight to the table. Just make sure your metal's touching somewhere so you have a good ground. I'm gonna head over to the belt sander, and I'm going to put a little bevel into this, or not a bevel, a sharp tip on my tungsten. Get that prepped and ready to roll. There we go. Nice little sharp tip. So back when I was in welding school in college, about 12-13 years ago, when we'd sharpen up our tungsten, we'd almost leave a little flat spot on it, and when we'd first start out, we'd let it ball up. It was something that a teacher had taught us. But over time, everybody seemed to like to have the sharp pointed tip better and just kind of let it do its own thing. I tried the ball way myself last time I was welding. It didn't work out too well for me, so kind of digging the pointy tip. Things have probably changed since then, so anywho, take it for what it's worth. I'm no professional aluminum welder. So another thing too, always prep your rod as well, your filler rod. What I like to do is take a rag, get it nice and saturated, and just give that rod a real nice cleaning. Give her a nice little scrub, if you know what I mean. Rod's sitting around forever. It's got some contaminants on it and stuff like that. You can see a little dirty there. So, like I said, take your time prepping this stuff. It's just gonna help your weld and everything else, and so you don't struggle so bad. So let's fuck around and find out, huh? That wasn't too bad. I'll show you guys here in a bit where it was started out as a little hot, but then we've gotten better as we went on there. So I'll probably come back here and burn it back in. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera right there, there's a little hole right there. That's where the cracks seem to be starting there. We'll see where we go with it. Getting a little shaky. I don't have nothing to put my arm on or anything like that, so turning out a little crappy right there, but I can see the crack that I'm filling it in. So we're getting what we need done. The weld isn't gonna look absolutely perfect. Like I said, I'm still practicing. Love to have something to prop my elbow on and work, but just don't, and I ain't gonna prop my arm on there because it's gonna get hot. Yep, that's not working out for me. My angles are all wrong. I keep putting my torch too far this way because that's where my arm's comfortable, and it's just putting too much, I don't know what you want to call it, heat out and dispersing it. I don't like it. Over here was really good because I was having my torch right at a 90 degree. Was able to depth my puddle. Over here, just not so much. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna kind of maybe set something up where I can prop my arms up and get this. The nice thing about any weld or any aluminum is you can always go back and kind of swirl your puddle and get rid of some of this higher, bigger, you know, bead and stuff like that. So there's where we started out. Like I said, right here was real cold. That's where the metal wasn't really warm yet. I didn't have my pedal all the way down. I'll come back in, start over, and get that nice and warm. As the metal started warming up though, we were doing real good. Everything was rolling fine. Right about here is where I lost my position with my arm and stuff, and you can see just not as good. You can see all the black stuff on top of the aluminum. That is the, you know, garbage junk. I don't know what it was, you know, whatever, but that was the stuff coming out of the crack, the porosity. So, like I said, right here, from here, we'll come back and melt it all in. You can see a little pinhole right there. The crack is still there, so I was filling that in as we go. So we'll keep rolling, and then we'll come back and make this thing a little bit nicer. I am not going to grind any of this weld down though. I'm gonna leave as much metal on there as possible. That way we have extra so it doesn't crack out. So, anywho, lunch just got here. I'm gonna go eat lunch, and then we'll come back to this and mess around some more and just have some fun. When we're all finished, we'll fill it up with water, make sure she don't leak. That's the biggest thing before we go off and put her back in the car. Let's make sure she don't leak. All right, so we got this side finished up. The weld got a little blobby right in here, a little thicker than probably what I want. I might knock that down a little bit, maybe, I don't know. Definitely want a bunch of weld on there so it'll help not crack again, but we gotta make sure that the mounting isn't gonna rub through or anything like that. But on further examination of this tank, it looks like we're getting ready to crack right in here. You can see that little line in there, and that's exactly what this one looked like. This one wasn't leaking yet, but it looks like it's getting ready to start cracking. As I was welding this one, it was kind of crazy. The weld would kind of separate, and you'd see where they barely had any weld in there. I'm sure this was like a machine weld. You could just tell by the precise gap and big long gap. So, I don't know. I could be guessing, I could be wrong. But I'm gonna go ahead and run down this seam as well, and get a little more practice anyway, and just make sure that we don't have to pull this tank out again or make us lose a race because we're leaking, something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just blast this back out, and we'll catch you when I'm done. All right guys, project number one pretty much wrapped up. I did decide to go ahead and kind of grind this lip down where the brace goes along. Right here is, I didn't want it to rub through, so I did knock it down just a little bit. We welded both sides, that one and that one there. So on both sides I did see some cracking. So we got her all welded up. I'm gonna flip it over, fill her full of water, and check for any leaks or anything like that. And that project will be pretty much wrapped up. We'll have to let the tank sit overnight, air dry, get all the water out of there before we mount it back up in there. While we're waiting for that to dry, I'll take the opportunity to take off both my fill filters and all that good stuff and clean them out as well, get them just cleaned. Since the tank has been completely flushed and cleaned, might as well have the full fill system completely cleaned out. Also, by the way, I started running this little wireless mic here. Let me know what you guys think. Is the audio any better? Is it worse? Am I too loud? Whatnot? Give me some feedback on that bad boy. And if you made it this far in the video, make sure to subscribe. Like, comment down there what I did wrong with this tank, what I should have done better. I'm always up for feedback and learning and experimenting and stuff. So tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me what I did wrong. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this thing all the way up to the very top, tap it off. What I wanna do is create as much internal pressure facing outward on all the cracks. So like just pretty much simulate that the tank was full and make sure we have no leaks. So I'm doing my best to make sure I don't get the outside wet at all. So that way we can kind of look around and make sure there's no leaks in there. Now that we're all filled up, we'll just let it sit here for about 15 minutes. Check around the bottom of it for any leaks, and if she's good, we'll drain her and let her air dry. All right, guys, looks like we are dry. We did a bunch of cleaning up, waited about 15, 20 minutes. No drip drops anywhere. We are holding liquid again, so that is good. I'm excited. I love welding aluminum. Not that great at it yet, but it's just a lot of fun to start fabricating like that again. I can't wait for more aluminum practice jobs in the future, whatever. I just like having fun. Okay, so we are all back in. Got all the fill lines tight. Everything is good to go. Did a bunch of little modifications. I had another bracket that kind of came up here. It was an L bracket like this side. And with the new weld and everything on there, it was just a little too close, too tight. I think the original reason I put that there wasn't necessarily to hold the tank back and forth. It was to brace the extra weight that was on this. So welding a plate there would kind of support it. But it seems to be pretty solid as far as that goes. So I don't think that is going to be much of a problem. So we cut that off. And then the other spot where it was rubbing right here, we'd fix the tank there. So I ended up cutting a little bit out of the brace there. And then I put a little bit of piece of foam, weather stripping right there. And then just all around, anywhere where it had a contact with metal at any point in time. I just put a bunch of the weather stripping that I had, some rubber stuff there all around it. So hopefully that'll help vibration and just rubbing through a bunch of stuff like that. So only thing we need left to finish this out is to get that fuel line from Sean and make that piece real quick, and then the fill system is ready to go. So next up, what we are going to do is we are going to start on the CO2 Boost Control system. So ordered that from Jigs, the CO2 bottle and all that good stuff. That should be here tomorrow. But while we're waiting, I'm gonna go ahead and just install the MAC valves. So I ended up kind of making up my own little T and system there. There's a little diagram online that I'll try to put up here in the link right here. Not in the link, but just a picture of it on how they're supposed to be routed. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to find a spot to mount this up. I have the wires already wired for one that I had for the single port that we could never get working. Couldn't figure out why. Well, it's because we never had any sort of dome pressure, so it wasn't ever gonna function. So I had two options to go with, either the onboard air or CO2. At this point, I thought CO2 was just a little bit simpler, easier, maybe not cheaper, but just simple and easier. And a lot of people say that the CO2 boost control is the best way to boost control. So we're gonna roll with that. So anywho, we'll get this in there. I need to run another output for the other MAC valve. I think I have one output left on a Terminator X, so we can run that. So that'll be the next little thing. Eventually I'm gonna get the expansion module from Terminator X. It gives 8 more inputs and outputs. that'll be next on the list, so then we can start doing other sensors and things like that. But that's for another video. So anyway, let's get this mounted up. Day 3. So yesterday I got a few little things done, kind of just getting through projects as we needed them. So we got the, as you can't see, fuel cell is back in, all the fuel lines are put back in, everything is buttoned up and tightened. We filled her up with fuel, everything was good, no leaks, she was starting, all the above. So we went ahead and started on our boost control. We've got our 2 3-port Mac valves right there. I've got one running to the top of the wastegate right there. And then I've got the other line running to the turbo, as it should. So today we're just going to be waiting on the new turbo and the CO2 boost control setup. They're supposed to both be here today, so then we'll be able to mount our CO2 bottle inside the car. I'll need to run and go get some more 1/4-inch air line to run from the bottle to here, and then we should be good to go. I've already got the both Mac valves pinned out, wired out. We've kind of got all the wiring right down in here. They're all ready to the ECU and ready to go. So that is 100% done. We just got to put the bottle in, get it ran, and then once we get all that done, we need to actually go and get the bottle filled up with CO2. And then once we're done with that, the main thing is swapping over the turbo. It's not much bigger of a turbo, so hopefully we don't have to do a bunch of changing or anything like that. Hopefully it's just a straight unbolt, bolt a new one on. They're both T4 flange, 4-inch exhaust coming out, and 3-inch boost clamp there. So hopefully that's all the same. Hopefully the drain and the feed are the same. Same VS Racing, just an 88 mil instead of the 75. So that is it for all that. We'll catch that hopefully later today or tonight. But while I was waiting, I started on another project for this car. If you guys have ever seen me at the track or anywhere, anybody that's been around this car, I don't always record it. But I have to give these doors the beans when I'm trying to shut them. I cannot get these things to latch for anything. You'll see them at the track, just bam, 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 slamming her out. People laugh a lot, but you know, it is what it is. So I had another parts car outside, and I had these updated latches that actually have strikers instead of the clamshell style latch and ratchet thing there. So I cut these out, and I was going to kind of graft these into there, is what the game plan was. That's not exactly how that goes, but just so you guys get the idea. So started tearing the door panel down, getting everything out of it so I could kind of like start mocking things up. That was a 280Z door and latch and all that stuff. So the doors on the outside were the exact same shape, but there was a lot of little things that changed them up. So like the lock mechanism right here is a little bit different, how they bolt in and things like that. So I think I found the solution though, without actually having to do all this extra work. So I've been messing with these door latches for years and years and years, and kind of finally figured it out, and I will show you guys what I found. So if anybody else is struggling with the same clamshell thing where their doors are not shutting, I'm going to show you what I found. So the biggest thing with this thing is that, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but it has a double ratchet inside here. These things out of the way. There's a couple clicks in here that it spins through. 1, 2, and that's double lock there. So the problem I was having is this little guy here, you can see, hopefully, right there where that thing was always banging onto it. So when you go to shut the door, this guy has got to run right into that bottom nub there. And as it rolls that second nub into that hole. But you can see, if you can see it, that every time it hits, it's not rolling into that hole all the way, it's actually smashing right there. So what we need to do is tune this guy up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it little tack welds on the front of this tab here, and hopefully get the play out of here. So if you can see in here, look how much play there is between those two rollers. So we need to add some more metal in there, tune that thing up so we don't have that play, and that way when it hits that first one, it'll roll in there as it should and latch her. So then when it's fully latched like that, bam, we're good to go. Something super simple, just never tore it apart to actually try to figure out exactly what was happening. I always thought it was something else. thought it was bad ratchets or something like that, but after seeing them in person, they're good. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the MIG welder, just weld on these a little bit, bring the metal out some, and then I'll grind it down until the tune-up is just right in between the play there, get some thickness in there. And we'll put it all back together and see how the door shuts and see if I fixed it or not. Not 100% sure, but I believe that is the problem. And if we can get it fixed that way, then we don't have to cut up the doors and put up a bunch of latches and just to, you know, make the project more than it needs to be if we can just make it fixed with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on that. So a little update on the car and where we're at. Got the doors all fixed. I am so excited about this. You guys don't know how long I've been slamming these doors. I painted this car the first time, I'm gonna say 7 or 8 years ago, and after we put it back together, we could never just get it to shut right. And then I ended up buying new clamshells, all that good stuff. So exactly what I thought needed to be fixed is exactly what needed to be fixed. So let's check this out, guys. Opens up super nice and shuts. She is fully latched. That is freaking amazing. I am so excited about that. So as you can see down here, all I did was just add a little bit of extra metal on that guy there, and she just latches. And since I had the door apart, messing with all that latch and had to put it all back together, I ended up finishing up some stuff that I'd never finished back in the day either. So when we rewrapped these door cards, I never put the window felts back in there. So the window was just kind of always floppy in there, and then I never put this little door lock like bezel guy right in there. So I had some other door panels that were actually OEM door panels that were still in the package, but they'd sat around so long they kind of got beat up and messed up. So I ended up just stealing everything off of these ones, the felt and the little lock mechanism thing, or lock bezel, to finish out the door cards. So that is something super duper epic with this car that it hasn't had since I pretty much finished it and painted it. So, you know, while I had a little bit of time waiting on the parts, we just keep working on this thing. But yep, like I said, we got both doors taken care of. Bam. That is just awesome. I am so excited about it. Blah, blah, blah. And then, while I was waiting again, I might as well just went ahead and took the turbo off. That way we are ready for when the new turbo gets here. Supposedly it should be here sitting on my doorstep as of now. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. We got one more customer job to do. Then I'll drive out to the house, go pick it up, and go and get all the parts we need. We need to get some more air hose for the CO2. I got a hold of Joey, and he told me where I can go fill up my CO2 bottles. So when I go pick up that package, I'm going to run it straight over, get it filled, because it is Friday today. So I don't want to wait all weekend and not have it filled. So I'm going to hurry, get that filled, then get it all mounted, and then get the turbo on. Here is our old turbo. This will be going on Katie's C10. So that is pretty awesome as far as that goes. Just adding to her build. Don't tell her, she probably already knows, but I bought her a bunch of Christmas gifts, and just all this stuff here, that stuff there is just about everything that she needs to, I'm not going to say finish her build, but complete it. Get the engine and trans and everything in. So we've got it sitting on the stand over here, ready to be tore apart, refreshed, rebuilt, and ready for a turbo. But anyway, that's another project. Let's quit talking about that. So yeah, you guys will see me back when I get the turbo here. So today is Monday. We are back at the car. We didn't do much work over the weekend. I got the CO2 on Friday, but the turbo never showed up. Kind of a bummer. Paid for some 2-day shipping from Lincoln, Nebraska, which isn't far, but whatever. We can complain about it all day. It doesn't make a difference. So we're just going to move on. But Friday, I did get the CO2, and we did take it down and get it filled. So it is 100% ready to fully be installed. Turbo is supposed to be here today. We've already got it off. You guys seen that. My thought process behind mounting the CO2 bottle is being able to reach it inside the car while I'm sitting in the car. So that way, if my crew chief, whatever you want to call him, isn't available, I'm still able to reach it. So they sent out this really nice bracket in the bottle, all that good stuff. The regulator, which we've got a push lock on there, so that'll be nice for, removing whatever we need to do. So thought process is is I think I want to mount it right here in the cage. See if I can get a good shot at that. So I'll just weld a little piece of angle iron on the back side of the bar there, and we'll mount it just like that. The bottle can sit right here, and then, you know, the clamp will sit there and hold it. I've kind of tested it out while sitting here, you know, belted in. I can literally just reach over and twist the bottle. So hopefully that's a good setup. There's not a lot of room and choices for this car. I don't want to put it in the passenger seat anywhere. This is still a street car. We did, you know, you guys seen Rocky Mountain Race Week, and having a passenger in here is important to me. It is fun to drive. It's fun to enjoy with other people. So definitely want to keep the passenger seat. I'm not trying to clutter it up. We've already got, you know, the fire extinguisher in case we need it, and it's a tight fit. So I think that is going to be our best option for mounting while still being able to reach it and access it, change the bottle, all the above. So I'm going to go ahead and grind that out, or grind a little spot off. I'm going to weld a piece of angle iron, go see if I have a piece, get it chopped up and weld it in there real quick. I haven't decided if I'm going to TIG weld it in or MIG. The whole cage is MIG welded. That is, you know, it's not no chromoly or anything like that. So not a big deal on that. I would like to practice TIG on this, but there's not a lot of room in there for me to crawl around. You know, I can't really access it from back here. And have to weld it from that side. But TIG is the cleaner way. I won't have any splatter or you know, anything like that to burn up any of my interior. But being able to run the pedal at the same time, I've seen some guys, you know, use their legs and squeeze the pedal. I don't know if I'm going to have enough control to do that myself. I don't have enough practice TIGging, so we may just MIG it. I do have a welding blanket here. She's kind of beat up, got a lot of holes in her and things like that, but you know, that's a possibility. We throw that in there and just MIG it. So I haven't decided yet. We'll get everything prepped and ready and just roll with it and see what we decide. So we found ourselves a piece of scrap angle. And what I'm gonna do is just kind of mark out how long I need it to be with the bracket here. Draw a Sharpie line and cut it. One thing I'm gonna do to make this look a lot better and more aesthetic inside there, you know, you can just cut it and weld it in if you want to, but it doesn't look great. So after I cut it, what I'm gonna do, just to always make brackets and things look better, is round your edges. A little bit of grinding, a little bit of finesse with the metal will always just kind of class it up, make it look a little better instead of just having a chunk of angle iron welded on there. Plus, you know, get your arm caught on there while you're trying to remove the bottle. Rounded off edges are going to make sure it's not as sharp, cutting your arms up, things like that. So pretty simple. Don't need to explain a whole bunch. Let's go ahead and just make this bracket. I just wanted to take a quick second to tell you guys about this blade that we've got. I bought this new Evolution blade, metal saw blade. It's made for steel, aluminum, all that good stuff. I used to use like a cut-off wheel style wheel for this. The bad problem with that situation on this chop saw is I always had a lot of deflection. So when you cut down, you know, the blade would kind of, you know, twist sideways as you were doing your cut because it had a lot of flexibility to it. And so you'd always have a lot of deflection. Your cuts would never be just straight up and down. If you're doing boost pipe or anything like that, it's always just a bad fitment. Number two is that type of blade always has a lot of contamination. So welding aluminum, things like that, it's just tough. I did my last boost pipe with that, and Sean Fink welded the boost pipe up for me, and he's an excellent welder, and he said that it just sucked to weld because of all the contamination and things like that. So I went ahead and bought this blade here. I built this aluminum rack over here with the glass rack with this chop saw, and let me tell you, it just cuts through that aluminum like butter, super quick, really efficient, really nice straight cuts. Even with this Harbor Freight chop saw, it did really, really nice cuts. So if you're working with any type of metal and you got the money to afford one of these blades, they are kind of expensive. It is going to be worth it 100%. Change yourself over to one of these blades, and it'll just step up your fabrication. You know, tooling is 100% makes you better with fabrication. So you have good tools, makes blah, blah, blah. Let's get to cutting. And that is it, guys. That blade just cut through that metal like butter. Look at that cut. I mean, it's nice and straight, good to go, and it cut through it in seconds. You didn't have to sit there and have a bunch of sparks and everything else. It's just super, super friendly on that note. So definitely pick yourself up one of those blades. Anyway, let's get the shape in this thing. Got our piece here. One way to make your edges nice and round and just consistent with each other is find something round in your shop. Whether it's a socket, you can use a bottle lid, even this guy or whatever. And all you're gonna do is just set it on the edge, line it up on your two opposing edges there, and trace around it. And that gives you a little template to round off your edges. Do it on both sides, grinder down. I'm gonna use my little angle grinder here. Use whatever you got to grind it down, belt sander or whatever. And you'll have yourself some really nice, clean, beveled edges, chamfered, I don't know what you wanna call it, rounded off edges. Just makes for a cleaner fabrication. Safety first. Check that out. Nice rounded edges, everything is good. Kind of took all the, rounded everything, not just here, but rounded everything. Now it looks like a nice prepped piece of metal. Ground all the mill scale off it so that way when we're done welding it, we can throw a little bit of black paint on it. It's gonna look great on the cage. One thing I did is the spot where I'm going to be welding onto the cage, I did run a little bevel on that edge. Beveling the edge here is always gonna make for a better penetration. I'm not gonna weld the whole, 3 inches or whatever this is. What I'll do is I'll probably do 2 stitch welds, 1 inch here, 1 inch here, leave there. The biggest thing about that is, if you've ever fabricated before, if you weld that whole thing and then later on you want to cut it off, you're gonna have to cut through that whole weld, do a bunch of cleaning up. So just give yourself a little weld there. Those 2 welds are gonna hold this thing more than sufficient. But later on, if you need to make changes, it's not a bunch of cleanup. So I went ahead and took my little speed square and just marked out our spots. The little T on there, on the little cross marks, is right where we're gonna drill our holes. Take your time, get it all out on a grid like that. It is just gonna make your fabrication look that much better. If you drill a hole up here and then down here, it's gonna lay sideways and just not look that great. So I'm gonna use a center punch, set my 2 spots, drill the hole, pretty self-explanatory. Just take your time when you're fabbing stuff up, though. It is gonna make all the difference on, what your fab skills look like. We're always in a hurry to finish our projects and things like that, but I mean, this didn't take me much more time to get it ready, and it'll look that much better. We are on a time crunch, but there's no excuse to not make it look good. All right, now let's pick a spot where we think the bracket should go on that bar. I'm gonna kind of just slide this over. We know that the seat belt still needs its room there, so I'll leave that just like that. I like it like that, right there. Originally, I was kind of thinking about running the bracket dead center of the bar, but the way I beveled that, and it sits just like that, it kind of sits, you guys can't see it, but it sits on top of the bar, and that'll be a really nice clean weld right there, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my Sharpie, mark out where we want this bad boy. I just draw a line where she's gonna sit so I know where to grind off the paint. We are good to go. So grab a grinder, clean that up. So I've got the fire blanket in here. Everything's covered up from the sparks. We're gonna go ahead and use the MIG welder. I grab my level. Not that it matters too much that it's gonna need to be level, but I just kind of want a straight edge on it. So that way, she looks good. And I'm just gonna give her 2 quick tacks, and then I'm gonna pull the bottle out and then weld her back up and grab my hood and stuff. I didn't grab my hood. It's kind of hard to get inside this car. There, perfect. Let me grab my hood and we'll burn this bad boy in. peeps, she is mounted up and ready to go. Threw a little bit of black paint on the bracket there, just to aesthetic to make it look good. We had a little bit of hiccup with the mounting bracket. We'll address that later. It doesn't make much of a difference. We're either going to unbolt it with the one screw right there or the two in the back. So, I mean, it's one more bolt that isn't going to change much as far as that goes. But yeah, we've got everything all lined up in here. Let me give you guys a little tour. Got the regulator on there. Got the pressure line ran down the side of the roll cage here, kind of up through the fire hydrant or fire extinguisher bracket, through the firewall. You can really see that. Nice thing about these V's is they actually have all these little tabs down here, as you can see right there and there. They have little metal bendy tabs that holds all the wire harness and everything else, so I was able just to run that vacuum line all the way up through, kind of curly cued it into right there, so then it's out of the way of all the heat, shouldn't melt, anything like that. So CO2 is fully mounted. I don't know much about it. I'm not going to dick with it until Darce gets here and we kind of figured out he can show me where to dial in the pressure at, all the good stuff there. So Monday night, it is 5 o'clock. Turbo finally showed up and the wheel showed up. So we got the new Hoosiers. Let me see what they are. They're the D05. Joey Anton, the guy that got me invited to this race, picked those up for me. Appreciate it, Joey. So I guess these are the newest compound tire that Hoosier is doing. And so we're going to try them out. I don't know. Joey hasn't tried them yet, so he doesn't have much info on them. But he asked me if I want to try them. I said, hey, why not? I don't have much experience in any of this anyway, and tires and things like that. So I was like, shoot, let's just do it. Let's send it. So we went ahead and picked these up, and I'll tell you what, they feel like they are glued. We rolled them on the ground. There's dirt on them, but I mean, I swear, like, just, they are sticky. You can get your fingernails into them really deep. They are, they're going to be sticky. Joey said that reason he's not running them is because he thinks that his car will literally just backflip. Mine and his car both wheelie pretty hard, and with a sticky tire like that, we might have some issues. So hopefully we can get this all together, go do a little testing. I might be able to take some of the weight out of the rear that we're running with these sticky tires. So we'll find that out. We'll test them and see where they go. Hopefully we have enough time to test. But anyway, on to the turbos. So here you go for size comparison. That is the 7875. That is the 8588. Kind of told as an 88 millimeter billet wheel, journal bearing, VS Racing. So the thing that I like about this one over this one is it's actually got the V-band clamps to clock your turbo. Really like that, so that's going to be sweet. I didn't realize how much bigger those turbos are from each other. The AR is the same frame on the backside, but it is a much bigger turbo, so I'm a little worried about it fitting. I thought it was going to be direct bolt-on. We'll find out here in just a minute. I'll set the phone up on here and we'll test fit it, see if it's going to fit. Hopefully I don't have to do a bunch of fabrication to get it fit, because I really want to run this turbo over the little tiny one. Like I said before, the spooling issues that we were having, it's not necessarily issues, but it is an issue. I was literally building 12 pounds in 4 seconds on the brake without the dump valve on with the little VS Racing. And if I stayed too long, it would start boost creeping. It just is what it is. And we've got a 60 mil wastegate on here too, so it isn't priority in the exhaust, which could be better. But I figure maybe if we put a bigger turbo on, that'll combat some of the quick spool that we're having, because we don't want to be on the line starting to build too much boost and then blow the tires off down track or even at the 60 foot. So hopefully that will combat it a little bit. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking and start fitting. as you can see in the time lapse, we pretty much got everything bolted on. Exhaust is back on. While I had the turbo halfway on, I went ahead and got into my wastegate and took out all my extra springs. So there's a spring, and here's the other spring. I had tripled up on the springs. So now that we have CO2, I went with the lightest spring possible. I was talking to Joey today, and he said he only runs like a 1 pound spring in his, and he has onboard air. So I guess, you know, he just uses that to pin the wastegate shut. So he said just go with the light one, so then that way you can control your boost all the way from 1 pound and on, and not have a minimum of like 7 or something like that. So that is what we did. We've got the wastegate on, locked in. I seen that there was a little bit of a exhaust leak around that, so I used some little bit of RTV gasket maker around that, some around this, and then some around the turbo flange down there. So I was just kind of going in series, trying to let that all dry up. So now that I've got everything else bolted on and drying up, we'll go ahead and go over to our turbo compressor. We need to drill and tap a hole in there somewhere for our boost reference. It looked like there was a spot right here, but after looking at it on the inside, there is nothing in there. So I don't think that's gonna be the spot. So we'll probably have to pick somewhere out here on the housing or something. I always like the way they look there. They have a little spot usually on most typical turbos to do it there. And I like the way they look, but just is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill that, tap it. You guys already know the drill. We'll get that all taken care of and then put back on, get all the boost pipe back on. Should be good to go. I haven't decided if I'm gonna start the car tonight though. Just due to wanting that gasket maker to fully set up. I don't want it to blow out and create an exhaust leak and have to start over. So I'm kind of anxious. I do kind of want to start it, see what it sounds like. It's gonna sound like a turbo LS, I know, ain't much change, but you know, when you do these changes, you're kind of excited just to do something like that. So I don't know if it takes enough time, I'll do it a quick start and stuff like that, but anywho, I'm gonna get started on that. All right, guys, we are wrapped up with all the upgrades on the vehicle as of now. Got the turbo on, well, I was gonna say last night, but it's actually the night before. Yesterday had a bunch of things come up, had, you know, company work to do. Our stupid heater fan blower went out, so I ended up having to do a bunch of that, and then the kids' basketball game where we had to leave town a little bit early. So came back in this morning, finished up the last little odds and ends. I had to put a different fitting down in the turbo right here. The other one just wouldn't tighten up tight enough. I just tapped that hole a little too big and it just wouldn't tighten up, so we went with a little bit bigger of a fitting and got her taken care of. So that is all good. Just kind of tightened up a few more things. This clamp was a little bit loose. I could see that the boot had moved a little bit from where I originally set it. The throttle bracket was a little loose, so we got that tight. And as of now, everything is ready to go. I did start the car the night that I put the turbo on. I didn't record that. I was just kind of too excited. Just wanted to kind of note, when you put a turbo on, if you don't dump any oil down in the turbo, they usually ship it with a little bit of oil in there, residual type of stuff, but it's not enough in my opinion to lube it up. So when you start it for the very first time, what I did is I had Luke over here holding the turbo. Just hold that thing solid and start the vehicle up and let some oil pump in there real quick. It only needs to pump, you know, let the oil pressure build up, pump for 15 seconds or so. You don't want to over flood that. It doesn't really matter too much, but get some oil inside the turbo, then you can let it go and let it start spinning. We let the car get up to full temp, did a little two-step check, built about 2 pounds on the brake with that new wastegate spring. So I think we're on the right track with that. So the turbo doesn't seem to be too laggy. It was about the same 4 seconds to get to 2 pounds as it was 4 seconds to get to over 10 on the other turbo. So that is going to be way more controlling as far as that goes when we're on the staging line to control the boost. So that is good. Only things we have left to do is we need to go tune it. That is first. I'm waiting for Darce to get back to me. We are going to go over to either the dyno or do some street testing. It did not snow, so we could definitely go out and street test, but it is gloomy and cold and stuff like that, so I don't know if we want to risk it on the street type of situation. We'll leave that up to him on what he wants to do for the tuning aspect and teaching me on the boost control side of what I need to do when I'm gone and don't have him anymore. So that is first off, we need to get it tuned. After we get back from the dyno or whatever we're going to do, We've got an oil change to do. We've got a couple extra sets of spark plugs. Thank you, O'Reilly's and AutoZone, for sponsoring us with all the stuff that we need to get down there and have the maintenance stuff. Appreciate you guys. And then lastly, put our new CO5 Hoosiers on. We'll put those on right before we load it onto the trailer and be good to go. So that is pretty much it for all the prep. We're not gonna record all that other stuff. That's, you guys know what we're doing. So anyway, that is the end of this video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you made it to the end of this long video, appreciate you for watching the whole thing. That really helps us out. And make sure you smash that subscribe button, like, comment, wish us good luck, and hopefully we get down there and make it happen. So, see you guys later.